Greetings, I'm Pillar Nexus, Ancient Gladiator, with more Pillarless Tabletop games. With Dwarfs. Yeah, I ended up with it finally. And yes, that's 7. They're using a 7 as a stylized F. This is silly. You are dwarves trying to prepare for the coming winter. To that end, you will have your kingdom cards, your dwarfs, and your actions every turn to get stuff done. At the start of the game, you will have a random secret goal. Achieving it's worth quite a bit of points. You will have your 9 kingdom cards, and you will have your campfire with your basic dwarves. At the start of your turn, you get 3 actions to perform. There's playing a kingdom card. The first kingdom card played in the game goes on the center. In any orientation, further kingdom cards will then be placed off of that. In order for something to count as part of your kingdom, it is wherever your castle is and anything that can be reached from there. Let's say you have a dwarf here. Your dwarf can reach to here. This is your kingdom. Let's say, it's entirely possible for multiple players to set up their kingdoms to overlap, which will count all those cards as both of those players' kingdoms. But as soon as walls are set up, it'll divide the kingdoms. Anyway, place cards. Place a card for an action. Something else that you can do is also stack. As long as it's like the same type, like with the forest dragon, can stack on top of a mine. And now dwarves have to assign to it and slay the dragon to get rid of it. Alternatively, if a mine is replaced with a different mine, things can be done to dig to the next card. But anyway, there will be playing the card. There'll be playing dwarves from your campfire to an empty spot. You can play them to any card as long as there's an empty spot there. So, for the purposes of this turn, let's say our action was placing this card, then placing those dwarves. Other actions will include moving from one to an adjacent, bearing in mind that you cannot cross through walls. And then there's also upgrading your doors at your campfire by spending the appropriate gems. A diamond lets you replace a dwarf with a warrior, which can be used to repel enemy meeples by 1 space, but not through walls. Guardians are upgraded with emeralds and protect you from ogres in that spot. Ogre cards are mean stuff. I will go over them later. 2 of the yellow gems, or topazes, get you a king. When you assign your king from the campfire, it does not cost you an action. And then finally, playing ogre cards themselves is a free action. You will use them to mess with your opponents. So let's say our 3 actions for the turn were to play this card and play these 2. We go to the resolve step after the actions are done. And we do have the 2. So we must resolve where we can These two return to the camp, and we now have a gem. This goes to your hand. At the end of your at the end of your turn, if you have more than 9 cards in hand, you must discard anything that's not a kingdom card to get back down to that limit. So with my 8 kingdom cards and my 1 gem, I'm safe. Going over all the actions that can potentially happen during the resolution. Just mining emeralds, rubies, topaz, which you get 2 of, diamonds. You're going to need them to trade. You may need them for your secret objectives. You'll need them for the upgrades. And there are points at the end of the game if you don't use them. They're still in your hand. There are monsters to completely mess with players. The forest dragon prevents all mining in your kingdom until it's defeated. You must assign 5 of your own dwarves to shut it down. In which case you will remove the card, add it to your collection, not your hand. It does not count as a goal, it just counts as 3 extra VP at the end. And then the Frost Giant, which takes away the bonus action you get from your castle. So if your castle's in play, you get 4 actions every round, including the round that you play it. The Frost Giant takes that away until it is defeated. Okay. The castle itself has the dig option. So, as I said before about stacking cards, using the dig option will let you move the top card to the bottom. You'll be trying to stack cards to just generally mess with players or otherwise alter your options. The only other things I could stack are these. It's worth noting when you stack cards, you cannot stack over the castle, you cannot stack over monsters, you cannot stack if there's a dwarf on the card. Anyway. Other stuff to resolve are getting ogre cards. Having an ogre tavern in your kingdom is worth less points. But it gives you access to lots of mean stuff to just send dwarves back to the campsite, take away other players' cards, send dwarves running away, taking a random gem card, swapping 2 dwarves. Yeah. Lots of fun, mean stuff. But it's critical strategy, so make use of it as you see fit. And then finally there's the general store. You get 3 dwarves there, and you can trade gems that you've collected for the tradable goals. It'll add to your public collection along with your monsters, and if you ever score your secret goal. And that counts towards ending the game. But after a goal is taken, a new card will replace it. So, at the end of your turn, play passes to the left. If one person has achieved at least 3 goals between the trade and maybe their secret, the game ends. I don't think there's any more turns to take. It immediately triggers the end of the game. Players who have not played their round, this round, take their last turn, so it plays to the end of the round. So that everyone has an equal number of turns. So Splendor-like in that regard. And then winning the game. Completing your goals. Like, let's say I got up my 5 emeralds, and completed that one. So I got those points. If I slayed any monsters, get 3 points for each of those ones. Gems that are still in the hand are worth the points that are shown. And then finally, the kingdom. For the kingdom to be worth anything at all, first you're going to need to have the castle. And then whatever's in that kingdom up to the walls. So I've got my castle, I've got these into the kingdom. So there's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, minus 2 is 5. Those points are mine. If someone else had their castle, and I wasn't able to cordon them off, then we both get those points. If I don't have the castle, I don't get the points at all. But once you figured out those points and add them to those, the most points wins. If there's a tie, most cards in that kingdom, in that player's kingdom. If there's still a tie, most dwarves on the board is the winner. There's no tiebreaker after that. I have yet to actually play this game. So, here's what happened. We got to the end of the league. We still had this board game available because we thought we were waiting for stuff. It turns out that was a misprint in the manual. That's Kickstarter stuff only. The game was fully playable anyway. And they decided they were going to, figure out what to do with it. And they figured it out on Saturday just to give it to someone when I still wanted to play for it. But thankfully he was gracious enough to give me that one. So I ended up with this anyway. So I need to figure out why I like this game. I still have to play it with people and figure that out. But already I'm liking the whole the having to manage your hand, that you actually have to build your kingdom if you want to have the room in your hand for gems, for ogre cards. The fact that you can place cards on someone else's kingdom cards and do stuff. Or you can potentially stop someone from being able to do what they're trying to do. Let's say someone was going to try to build up on this one. I could place my dwarfs, and they can't do anything about it other than to move away or use an ogre card that'll mess with that. And then there's the specialist dwarves over here to add some strategy as well. That, and I just like dwarves. I do. Yeah, my favorite fantasy races ever are dwarfs and ogres, primarily from the Warhammer verse. But anyway, it seems like a game that's going to move very quickly. That downtime shouldn't be too bad. There's no complicated combat to figure out. It's just play cards, move your guys to do stuff, do that stuff to get what you need to achieve your goals and have the most points when the game ends. But yeah, that is Dwarfs Fall. Do check it out. And tell me what you think of the game if you've tried it yourself. Okay. Thanks very much for watching. This is Pillar. We'll see you next time.